Hi friends, so today I'll cover the SRA and SRA we call it security risk assessment, and I'll refer the API methodology 780 practice standard. API stand for American Petroleum Institute, and they have prepared and developed the detailed document for the SRA. They have done the a lot of assessment, a lot of discussion with the lot of organizations, and even they have done internal assessments also. So then they develop this document. This document is around 160 pages it has, and a very detailed assessment about the SRA, how you can adopt this SRA for your organization. If you are a security professional, you can refer this document. It's very helpful to understand the exact exact crux of the SRA, and it will give you a lot of clarity about the SRA. So just I'll summarize whatever I read about this SRA in this document, and I'll help you to give you a summarized summarized pack on about this SRA. So first I'll cover the 5 steps of SRA. As per this methodology, there are 5 steps to conduct the SRA, and the first step is that asset characterization. In that asset characterization, any organization will list out their critical assets and pathways. So when I'll talk about the critical asset, it is like whatever operation you have, whatever setup you have, and whatever critical asset you have to list down that asset. Then after that, you have to mention what is the dependency of business and operation on that asset. Then you have to also mention what is the interdependent dependency on that particular asset. And as per that, they have mentioned the 1 to 5 rating, and then you can give that rating to that asset as per the criticality. In that same thing, you have to mention the pathways also. The pathway is that whatever entry exit points you have, or parking areas you have, your street or avenues you have in your organization, you have to consider that as a pathways. And that pathways also, you have to mention the criticality, and as per that, what is the dependency, what is the volume you're handling from that particular pathway or avenue or parking. Then what is the interdependency, how your business runs, if that will be damaged, what will be impact for your business, what will be the impact for your transportation, and a lot of things you have to consider, whether it is a pathway for the employees travel, or it's for the material dispatch, or maybe for any particular large structure kind of equipment you are carrying from that particular pathway or particular access point zone. So you have to do all this assessment. As per that, you have to mention the criticality of that particular pathway, and again you can mention 1 to 5 rating, what will be impact, if something will if any threat will damage that particular pathway. This is all about asset characterization. I'll tell you in detail about all these 5 steps, and these all 5 steps are interconnected. And if you want, at the end we required one heat map for the SRA, and that heat map will give you the clarity how you can track your risks and how you can reduce your risk, how you can treat your risk. So at the end, our result will be the heat map, which we will be 5 by 5 matrix. We'll develop that. The second step in the SRA, which we call it threat assessment. So threat assessment, you have to consider a lot of things. Like first one is that you have to check the history. What is the history of particular threat? And if I talk about this API methodology, they have mentioned 4 type of threat. They have considered 4 type of threat to preparing the scenario, to considering any assessment. The first one is the terrorist attack. The second one is mob attack. The third one is disgruntled insider. It can be employee, it can be a contractor, anyone who is insider, who has idea or knowledge about your layout or your criticality, and they can do any damage for your organization. A fourth one is the sabotage. Any kind of sabotage for your process, for your gadgets, for your equipments, for your pipelines, or whatever critical process you have, any sabotage which can interrupt your business or can challenge your business contingency plan. And in that you have to consider the threat actor, and as per that you have to do the assessment. What is the history of that particular threat you are considering? What is the site specific history you have? Any attempt, such kind of attempt happened earlier, or any possibility or likelihood that nearby state or nearby that particular setup, it kind of things happened, or you detect something, or a lot of crimes is happening or not? What is the total FIR reports of the nearby police station, or particularly that particularly in that state, that what kind of threats are happening, what kind of risks are coming up. So we have to check all this, and as per that you again, there's a threat rating they have mentioned, and as per the chart you can refer the what the threat rating can be considered for your setup, for your organization. The third point is that vulnerability assessment. So again, that's vulnerability assessment. We create the scenarios. So we just put your asset, then there will be a scenario, and there will be a threat. So we check that one side is the threat, one side is your critical asset, and we check that what controls we have right now, what is the existing control we have right now, and what is the gap. If we talk about any VVID attack, or you have any particular refinery setup here, what controls you have at your pathways. And if we talk about VVID, do we have K8 or K12 barriers? If we have, are they stalled as per the standard? Are they meeting all the requirement or not? If there would be any high impact on this K8 or K12 barriers, will they able to sustain? Will they able to stop that threat or not? And once they hit, or what is the control measures you have? What is the QRT you have? What kind of capability of your QRT? What kind of capability or equipment they have? What kind of nearby support you have? What kind of local police or paramilitary force you can gather over there? So it's all about, you have to do all this assessment. What is the distance from your QRT location to your that pathway, or do you have any standby QRT in your premises only? Or if it is a critical asset or highly national asset, then you'll get the support from the paramilitary also. There will be a standby team for the support. It's up to that facility and that criticality also. So when as per my experience, when I was in my organization, that there was the option that paramilitary force was ready over there, the QRT was ready as per the as it was the national asset. So you have to check all this possibility that nearby police is capable of that. They have that required equipment, they have that required manpower, and what is their standby team, what is the location of their standby team, if something will happen, how much time they'll take to reach over there. So these all kind of things you have to consider, and as per that you have to check that your vulnerability assessment, all controls you have at access control point or not. If I talk about the cameras, if I talk about the guards, if I talk about the lighting, if I talk about the barriers, if I talk about the K8, K12, or your strengthening of the perimeter wall and all. So you have to check all this. Do you have a line of defense, 1, 2, 3, a lot of layers you have or not to stop that particular threat. So you have to check all these things, and as per that you have to find the gaps and fill that gap accordingly. So it will be again a detail. I'll mention the further videos about this, how you can portray this vulnerability to the management so that they can understand the criticality and they can provide you the solution for that. The fourth one is the risk evaluation. So you have to evaluate the risk. If something will happen, what will be the impact? Do you have any BCP plan? Do you have any alternative setup if something will happen to your particular critical asset? So do we have alternative or not? If not, what is the recovery time you have, and what is the capability of recovering that particular setup, whether 1 month or 1 year or 2 years? It's up to that process and setup. You have to check that with the all stakeholders in your organization, those are running that operation, those are running that setup. And as per that, if you have alternative, so that alternative option, or we can say the war situation setup is ready or as per the BCP plan, or you can run that operation in the same quantity, same targets or not. It's again, you have to do that assessment. What is the capability of that particular organization or management? Will they able to sustain during that impact or not? You have to check all these things. The fifth one is the risk treatment. So when we talk risk treatment, there are 5 pathways to treat your risk. Like first one is that spreading the risk. If there would be any risk in a particular zone, you can spread that risk. If I talk about, I just give you example of any storage of diesel petrol tank in the refinery. So you cannot keep all this storage in a one place. You have to spread that quantity in a different zones in the tank, so that if there will be any attack, it will be only a particular zone, or if there will be any impact, this will be also a particular zone. You can run your operation, you can run your business, and there will be a less impact or hazard if some attack will happen. So this is called spread. Then you can reduce the risk as per the SRA. Whatever gaps you will find, you can treat that, you can reduce that risk by deploying the control measures. The third one is that acceptance of risk. If I'll give you example of any perimeter. If you have challenged by the local authority or local villagers or external entity or nearby entity, that they are challenging that it is not possible you can deploy any control measure at your boundary also, then your management has to accept that risk. And you can have the interim control measure from inside, but again, as per the SRA, if there is a gap, management has to accept that now because of this reason it cannot be deployed. So these are the risks and management has to accept that. Then risk spreading, we have already covered. Risk transfer. The risk transfer is that you have any facility, any critical asset, just take the insurance for that, and just you are transferring that risk to the insurance company. Then, so all 5 pathways I have mentioned for the risk treatment. So these are the 5 steps for the SRA, and based on that we create a template. Then we create a detailed assessment charter for SRA, and there are a lot of calculation also, and it is very good. It is good, very good SRA, I can say that. And I'll cover in my next video that what is the step by step you can develop that, how you can develop your SRA team, and how you can lead that team, and how you can come to the conclusion of that risk matrix, which I have mentioned, that heat map, which will give you the clarity. You can show that show to the management that this is the heat map, this is the current situation of our risks, and how we can reduce that. If we reduce that, we can, if we deploy these control measures, we can reduce that risk, and this will be a position for risk if we deploy these control measures. So that's all for now, and I'll come with the detailed risk assessment methodology, how we can do and execute that SRA. Till then, bye bye, take care.